Hey there, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about something really cool, variables and data types. Now, you might be wondering, what are these and why do they matter? Don't worry, I'll explain everything in simple terms. So, first of all, let's talk about variables. All right, imagine you have a magic box. This box can hold anything you want. Let's call it a special box. Now, this special box can hold different things. It can hold things like toys, it can hold candies, or even numbers. So let's say you want to keep track of how many cookies you have. You can put the number of cookies inside your special box. And whenever you eat a cookie, you can take one out of the box. Okay? Now, what if you want to remember your friend's name? You can write their name on a piece of paper and put it in your special box too. That way, whenever you want to remember your friend's name, you can just look inside your special box. So, a variable is like your special box. You give it a name, like cookies or friend's name, and you can put different things inside it, like numbers or words. And whenever you want to use what's inside your special box, you just use its name. Easy, right? Now, how do we write a variable? Well, there are different ways, but let's keep it simple. We begin with the old way and then I'll tell you about the new way that we use nowadays. So we start with a keyword var. Come here inside our script, JS, and then we write var, and then we give our box a name. And we are going to give our box a name called cookies. All right. And we are going to set an equal sign, and we are going to assign it 100 and then a semicolon. Okay, don't forget to add the semicolon because it helps JavaScript understand our code better. Okay, if you don't write the semicolon, JavaScript will read this as one sentence. And when it does, you can see that it throws for us an error here. And it's right unquote syntax error because JavaScript is reading the whole of this sentence as one sentence. It doesn't know what to do with the sentence that you have written. So when we put a semicolon here, is that we terminate that sentence and tells JavaScript how to interpret our code. So we want our console log to give us the value of our variable. So call a variable which is cookies. And once we write cookies here, our console gives us 100. It tells us that our cookies is 100 pieces. So we have 100 pieces. Okay. Then what about text? We can't just write words like Sarah in JavaScript. What we need to do is we declare our variable and then we'll say my name equals to quotes and then you write Sarah and then you put a semicolon. Then inside our console we are coming here and we are going to call on our variable, and you can see that now it has displayed for us my name, because now when we put Sarah inside the quotes it becomes a string and JavaScript is able to interpret this as a string. All right, when you want to write notes in JavaScript we use these double slashes, and in double slashes you can say this is variable cookies. And here you will say this is a string. It is a string type, okay? That is a string type. So this is a comment. They are like little reminders for you or others reading your code. In our console.log, where we have cookies, we pass in the variables that we have declared. And like here, we declared cookies as our variable name. And here we have my name as a variable name. So we can pass both of them here. We have my name and cookies. Before this, we can pass cookies, and then we put a comma and a space. And you can see that now we are able to view our cookies is 100 and our string, my name, Sarah, there. What if we want to subtract our cookies? What if we want to subtract our cookies here? What are we going to do? We are going to write cookies. These cookies, which is 100. We're going to say cookies. Cookies equals to cookies minus 10, and then semicolon. Okay, so we are saying these cookies, which is 100, so it is 100 minus 10, and it gives us 90. Okay, we can also continue saying cookies equals to cookies minus another 10. It's going to give us 80. Why? Because it had already deducted 10 here, so we are left with 90. And then let's say you've taken another 10 cookies. So from the previous 90 cookies that you had remaining, if you deduct 10 more, you're going to be left with what? With 10 cookies. There's something else called a Boolean. A Boolean is also a data type in JavaScript, and it's a fancy term for true or false values. You can think of it as a light switch. So we are saying if the light is on, then it is true. If the light is off, it is false. Okay, so we can use Booleans to control things like when we are enabling a checkout button. When there's something in the shopping cart and you haven't, when there's something in the shopping cart, then the button is enabled, so it is true. If there's nothing in the shopping cart, then the button is disabled, so it is false. So we are saying when the light is on, we are saying is equals to true. When it is off, is equals to false. And there are a few more data types that we may experience when going ahead with our JavaScript. We have what we call undefined, and we have what we call null. Undefined is when a variable doesn't have a value yet, and null is when a variable has no value. Let's imagine you have a special drawer where you keep your things in it, or you keep your toys. Sometimes you might put a toy in the drawer, but other times there might not be any toy at all. So in JavaScript, think of null data type as an empty drawer. It means there's nothing inside it, but the drawer itself is still exists. So if you see null in JavaScript, it's like finding an empty drawer in your room. Let's talk about undefined. Undefined, imagine you have a drawer, but you forgot to put a toy in it. That drawer is there, but there is nothing inside in the drawer. So in JavaScript, when you see undefined, it means something was supposed to be there, but it's missing. It's like saying, I meant to put something here, but I forgot. Okay? An example of this is like we're going to have clear a variable here, and let's give it a name of a drawer. And then inside our console, we're going to have our drawer here. Okay, now you can see in our console that it throws us these undefined type here, which we are saying that there was something that was supposed to be here, but it is not there. It says it's empty because you forgot to put something inside. So every time you come across undefined, it tells you that this thing it needed to have something in it. Understood? I bet. Okay, so remember, just like in real life, it's important to keep track of what's in your drawers or your variables when you're using JavaScript, so that you don't come up with undefined variables, right? Let's talk about a modern way to write variables using let and const. We're going to use let and const instead of using var. Const is a super secure box. Once you put something in it, you can't change it. But let is more flexible. You can change what is inside it later. You can come here and say const cookies, say const cookies equals to 100. Remember our semicolon, and then we write console.log, and then we pass in our cookies here, and then remember our semicolon. It gives us 100. We are saying whatever is inside the const variable, we cannot change it. Like we can't come here and say cookies equals to 50. It will throw an error for us. But when we use let, can come here and say let cookies equals to 100 pieces. As it's 100, we can say also cookies equals to 50. We can change what is inside the cookies variable to 50, and it won't throw an error. And this is the best way of using variables. We normally use let, and for those things that won't change, you use what we call const. So that's the basics of variables and data types. Ready for more? We'll move on to the next part and talk about functions. All right? So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, to subscribe, and also share. And I'll see you in the next video.